There's really a lot of different ways that it can be done. You can set 5 minutes to do it. And for somebody that's busy, even taking 90 seconds 3 times a day to just simply focus on your breath, to just feel your breath coming in your nostrils, feel how cool it is. And then on the exhale, see if you can feel it on your upper lip. And literally just doing that for 90 seconds 3 times a day is an introduction and a beginning into meditation.
Welcome to the My Future Business Show, where we get you in front of your best audience and keep you there. Not only are we interviewing the biggest names in business to help you become even more successful, we're inviting you to book your spot on the show to help you grow your business. So at the end of the call, make sure you fill in the interview application form at myfuturebusiness.com/interviews. Hi and welcome back to the My Future Business Show. My name's Rick Nuske. I always say it, but I do have the best role in the world. I have some amazing guests on the show, and today is no different. My next guest is Yvette Costa. How are you, Yvette?
I'm doing well, Rick. How are you doing today?
I'm fantastically well. We just were talking a little moment ago, a couple of hiccups we were experiencing, but that's nevertheless,
it's called life and technology.
Yes, well, it's funny because you can talk about mindset about how we deal with these things as they come up, and you can either have, I guess, a bit of that fight or flight sort of response, the fear stuff going on, and that's really what we're going to be talking about today, isn't it?
To a certain extent, exactly. It's how our minds impact our happiness and what we can do about it.
So what is your background? I know that your business is called Full Circle Coaching. Could you tell us a little bit about that and a bit about your background?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So my background in a nutshell is I come out of the corporate arena, 25 plus years in the biotech pharma arena here in the U.S. I'm also a yoga teacher, a yoga therapist, and I'm currently studying positive psychology to get an actual certification in happiness studies. And in a couple months, I'll be able to actually call myself a certified happiness coach.
Wow. And how many years of study does that require?
The happiness certification is a year. It's a full year of online studies with Tal Ben-Shahar, who's one of the leading positive psychologists basically in the world, who is also a former Harvard professor, where he taught one of the most popular classes at Harvard called Happiness of Well-Being. I've gotten that title wrong, I'm sure. I didn't actually take it. I didn't take it at Harvard. I'm doing it online.
So what made you decide to leave the corporate world and pursue this path?
Yeah. Well, like so many coaches, I had a lot of success in my career. I can't complain about anything that I experienced. I learned a lot. I worked with a lot of really great, smart people that really challenged me, contributed a lot to some very successful product launches and other things. But even with all of that, I was still feeling unfulfilled and unhappy and kind of like, what's wrong with me? And when I had the opportunity to take a package with my former company and get a little money to walk away from the job, I decided to take that opportunity and decide what I wanted to do next.
That's fantastic. I had something come up in my mind. It was a question about happiness and how in today's society we seem to be very unhappy. What are some of the core reasons behind that, do you think?
Oh, goodness. There are multiple, Rick. Fundamentally, this is my personal opinion, which is supported by a certain amount of data out there, but I think fundamentally our society, I'm speaking about the U.S. now,
Yep.
Is even though we have more technologies and more ways we think that we're connected to other people and to other human beings, we're really not. And so I think it's the loss of connection with family, with friends, and having true relationships within our lives, coupled with, again, I'll speak about U.S., the ever-growing ability to compare ourselves and to want more.
Yes.
And it's a never-ending cycle of setting a goal, working hard to achieve it. We may or may not get there, but most of the time we do. We're all pretty good about getting what we want. And as Sean Aker says, who's one of the positive psychologists as well, that cycle, we just keep pushing happiness over the horizon, which is a great image in my mind of, I'm running, I'm trying to get things done. And I got to my goal, and the first thing I do is set another goal.
You touched on expectations. They're almost unreal, literally, expectations that we could never meet. Um, I'd love to sort of unwrap that a little bit and talk about your work and how you integrate that approach and that idea into what you do.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, expectations is just one of the key points that I touch on when I work with my clients. There's a host of other things,
Yeah.
but expectations are something tangible we can start putting our hands around. But I want to set the context of expectation versus beliefs.
Yeah.
Beliefs are largely hidden in our brains and our subconscious. And expectations are the manifestation of a belief in our life, of something happening or not happening, or something being a way, or ourselves being a certain way. So we can see expectations, and they represent a belief in our life, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Is this something that most people can grasp? This new style of living, using yoga and positive psychology as one. How does this all come about for somebody who knows nothing about what you do?
Well, that's where I come in,
Yeah.
right? I like to say, like, my strength is taking the woo woo out of the airy fairy, like taking all that yoga stuff and sort of simplifying it into everyday language. And then because of my background in science and technology, I'm able to take the data and the biology and the physiology,
Yeah.
and simplify that all down into sort of really plain English. And then what I really like to do is give my clients simple, easy to implement tools that they can put into that practice in their life today to increase their happiness, their satisfaction, their productivity. All aspects of life generally increase when you do put some of these tools into place. And I like to do it in such a way so that people don't have to remodel their lives, right? I don't have to start meditating 2 hours a day. I don't have to give away all my worldly possessions. I don't have to adopt 12 dogs.
Oh, it's funny because what was, I guess, outer edge sort of stuff in the past has now become far more mainstream, and we're starting to look at our I guess the softer side of ourselves, and our psychology is becoming far more, I guess, relevant and prevalent in terms of the way we think about our existence. What
Mhm.
what is the sort of starting point when somebody first meets you?
Yeah, so we do two things in particular in terms of establishing a baseline for my clients. And one is called the Energy Leadership Index, or ELI. It's a subjective behavioral assessment. So you might have heard of DISC or Insights or
Yes,
Myers-Briggs.
certainly.
So, yeah, those are personality assessments. They basically put a label on you and say you are this. Whereas the ELI, basically, it's subjective, and it's based on your perception of your life's events to date.
Right.
So it shows you how you show up based on the beliefs that you have in your head that you may not know that you have. So
Ah,
it's a really deep assessment to really get at some of the core of the beliefs. So I do that. And
yep.
then I also do a values assessment. So to identify for an individual, what are your core values in life? So for me, for example, achievement and integrity are two of my core values.
Yep. Yep.
And so I can identify, and my clients can identify, what are my values? And then we rate ourselves, they rate themselves, how am I living my value? So if this value is important to me on a scale of 1 to 10 of 9, but I'm really only living it at a 3, right?
Yep.
There's that gap.
Yep.
So if integrity is 9 for me, but I'm living at a 3, then that could be causing me some unhappiness. And so we can dive into, what is going on for you and how can you shift that to move into being more alignment with your integrity.
Yep.
So that's one of the places that we start, as well as, obviously what's going on in your life and why are you here?
That's a good place to start.
Right,
So
right.
I wonder, given that we build up all these beliefs and these values over time, and you're an educated person, you come to it with I guess a scientific background, a corporate exposure background. This is far more than woo woo. If somebody like yourself and many others for that matter are willing to adopt this approach and live by it. Have you noticed any changes? Let's use you as a case study. Changes in your outlook on life. Obviously, there must be. But what have you have seen for yourself and some of your clients? What are some of the positive outcomes for them?
Yeah, I mean, for me, the single biggest relief, and I'll
Yep.
call it a relief, really was just not being so hard on myself, to be able to not take myself or life so seriously, and to be able to make a mistake and rather than get myself all in a tiz,
Yep.
right? That, oh my God, I made a mistake, and that perfectionism that we all have, that so many of us have,
Yep.
to just go, I
Eh.
made a mistake. Oh well. You know, the technology didn't work. Okay, guess what? We'll either start a little late or we'll schedule.
I'm a little bit red-faced about it, but you've just got to move on, don't you?
You do, and that's the point. It is you know the phrase "don't sweat the small stuff" sounds so cliche and trite,
Yes.
but really, when you start evaluating yourself and looking at some of the beliefs and expectations that you have in a very objective way, it literally lifts. Um, what is the word I'm looking for? Heaviness off of you, because now you're not sweating that small stuff, and you're not carrying around all that perfectionism and the need to have all the answers, the need to be correct, the need to be perfect. All of those things just, you know, lift from yourself.
You know, that's the one word that comes to me is burden. That burden's removed,
Or,
isn't it?
yeah, that's a great word. Thank you. That's probably what I was trying to catch there. And I
Yeah.
haven't had enough coffee yet to get to all of it.
Now, I'd just, again, I love to add value to the My Future Business audience, which, again, without them, this show wouldn't be happening. Without you as a wonderful guest, this wouldn't be occurring. I wonder if what we can share with some people that are wondering, you know, this is probably not for me. What would you say to them, that some of the early stages that they'll experience?
Well, let's see. I would ask them, so the last time you were cut off at a traffic light, how did you react?
Yes, it's a good
The
question.
last time at the grocery store when the person in front of you was carrying on a very long-winded conversation about the PTA meeting last week with the cashier, how did you react? Either outwards or inwards,
Yep.
right? I would ask them questions like that and say, if you're not just going, okay, is what it is. If you're boiling inside, if you've got a negative voice, either yelling at yourself, the other driver, or the cash register, then I'd say this is for you.
Yeah, well, it's funny you should say this inner voice, because that's where we dance the most, isn't it? With
Oh,
ourselves in our mind. I just wonder, yeah, is this something that could be useful for those who have a very busy mind?
oh, absolutely. And you know, the nature of the mind is to be busy.
Yep.
And that's one of the things that I help teach in what I do with my clients. So there's coaching and there's teaching that I do, that sort of all comes together. And the nature of the mind is to be busy. That is its role.
Yep.
And so the first thing to do is to understand that, and then to understand, particularly for meditation, a lot of clients come to me and say, "Oh, I can't meditate. I can't stop thinking." And I assure them, you don't actually have to. And I equate meditation and thoughts
Yep.
as to being a day at the beach. So meditation is like a day at the beach. If people roll their eyes at me like, I don't think so.
Maybe not.
But if you think about sitting on the beach and watching the waves, right?
Yep.
And if the waves are analogous to your thoughts, right? They keep coming and they keep coming. And just like you can't stop the waves, you really can't stop your thoughts.
No.
But what you can do is you can not get into them. So it's just like being at the beach. You can sit there and just watch the waves, watch your thoughts. Don't get into the water. Don't get embroiled in your thoughts. So the thoughts will come, just like the waves. And the goal of meditation is to simply not get attached to them, to not get wound up in them, to not follow them, to
Yeah.
just watch them.
That's a skill, isn't it? That's something I suspect you'd start off like an apprentice, wouldn't you?
Well, I've been doing it for more than a few years, and I would consider myself very much still a novice. It is a practice.
Yep.
It
Yep.
definitely is a practice, just like all of this, because it's a skill that you can learn.
Yep. Yep.
But setting people at ease to say, hey, no, it's not about sitting down for an hour and stilling your mind, because it ain't going to happen.
Well, it's funny because, you know, as busy individuals, most of us, I'm not saying everyone, but most of us have, you know, a set routine. Now, from I guess, a daily ritual perspective, how do we integrate this if we're a senior corporate person and, you know, this is relevant for the My Future Business audience? How do we integrate this idea into their daily ritual?
Yeah, in terms of meditation or
Yes.
managing expectations?
No, the first.
Meditation. There's really a lot of different ways that it can be done. You can set 5 minutes
Yep.
To do it. And for somebody that's busy, even taking 90 seconds 3 times a day to just simply focus on your breath, to just feel your breath coming in your nostrils, feel how cool it is.
Yep.
And then on the exhale, see if you can feel it on your upper lip. And literally just doing that for 90 seconds 3 times a day is an introduction and a beginning into meditation.
Yeah, it doesn't take much, does it?
It really doesn't. And I've done other speaking engagements where I've asked my audience to just sit back, close their eyes, and have them focus on that literally for 90 seconds. And universally, the response is, wow, that was amazingly relaxing.
Yeah.
Just for 90 seconds.
When you were talking about the waves earlier, I was finding myself drifting off, just reflecting in my mind's eye, you know, sitting at the beach with my young boys and just watching the waves. And, you know, it's such a calming experience, isn't it?
It is. And that can be attuned to a meditative state. Now, if the breath work is something that is not good for you, then, you know, there's other ways to conduct meditation. You can do it via music. Let's say you really like music and you drive a longer commute to work. You can turn on some of your favorite music and practice tuning into specific pieces of the music. I'm going to listen just to the drums.
Yep.
I'm going to listen just to the guitar. I'm going to listen to just the piano. And begin to start to direct your awareness to one thing in that music. And that's really all meditation is directing your awareness to one thing.
And keeping that focus for a period of time. I'm just loving this call, loving your feedback. Thank you so very much. I noticed that you have a number of, I guess, delivery methods. How do you deliver your coaching to your clients?
Yeah, thank you. I do a couple different things. I do one-on-one coaching, which is usually like this, either via Zoom or on the telephone.
Yep.
I work with groups, generally in a corporate setting. And that can be a combination of on-site and via Zoom, sort of remote,
Yep.
depending on the location of that organization. And then I also have an online course that is 6 weeks that I run periodically through the year to be able to bring people in touch with these concepts in a group setting.
Yep.
Now it's done via Zoom call just like this, with Facebook group support and those types of things. But that's basically the 3 ways that I do it. I one-on-one, a corporate group setting, and then my online course.
That's fantastic. And when people are looking to touch base with you and start this journey, where would they find you?
The best way to find me is my website. It's YvetteCosta.com. It's super simple.
Yep. I like the simple ones.
Yeah. And my email is Yvette@YvetteCosta.com.
Well, there you go. And I will be making all of those links available to everybody who was on the show today. I'd just like to ask you, on your website, what is the process that will occur for your visitors when they get there?
Well, it comes to my obviously the homepage, and
Yep.
then there's the opportunity there to either read more about me and my approach that is there. There's a newsletter sign up at the top. So that's probably the best way to stay in touch with me if anybody wants to just hear from me directly.
Fantastic.
Is to sign up for my newsletter. I send it out. Let's see how it depends on how organized I get, but I try to get it out twice a month in terms of just touching base with people, but sometimes it's a little less frequently than that. And it's not inundative, it's not exhaustive, so nobody's going to be overwhelmed with what I send out.
And that's nice to know, isn't it? So, Yvette, it's been just an absolute treat spending some time with you talking about this topic today, and love to have you back on the show again one time soon.
Oh, Rick, I would love to. And I appreciate it so much you having me on. And I hope that your listeners do get something out of this.
Thanks for joining us today. If you enjoyed the call, then make sure to subscribe, leave a comment, share us with your friends, and book your spot on the show at myfuturebusiness.com/interviews. And if you're looking for solutions that will help grow your business, then visit myfuturebusiness.com/shop.